Gentlemen, we're back with another episode of the RotoHackers podcast. I'm your host, AJ Herschel, also known as The Kid. Judah Buddha isn't here with us tonight, but we are graced with the presence of the absolute stud. It's Jared! And we are the unauthorized reporters of fantasy football news and information. Jared, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Busy week, but other than that, I'm okay. How about you?
Tired and busy, but good. Football is still going on, so life keeps moving on too.
So did you watch the Pro Bowl?
I did watch the Pro Bowl.
Was it thrilling?
No, it definitely was not.
I watched highlights from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what it's not even, I mean, basically like it's a two-hand touch game.
It is really, yeah. Honestly, I'd be a lot more interested if they changed the Pro Bowl to a game of flag football, because then they'd actually be trying to do something. But
I don't know if they would, or if they would just like do the same thing, just like stop as soon as someone got close to them, they'd just stop and present their flag.
Yep.
Or they would like pull their own flag off.
Right. The quarterback doesn't slide anymore. He just pulls the flag off. Yeah. Did you watch any of the Skills Showdown highlights at all?
No. Let's see. All I saw was I didn't actually see any of it. I saw clips from the game itself.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any of the skill stuff. I just read that Jarvis Landry had like beaten Lamar Jackson in a passing competition. Which,
that was funny.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly an accurate test of skill.
No. I'm kind of surprised since, I mean, like it wasn't like, I mean, even for all of Lamar's, running and stuff this year, like when he was throwing passes, they were just like laser beam passes that seemed to be on target this season. So I'm not sure like how he got beaten by Jarvis Landry. Maybe it was just a bad day for him. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they all have him. And I mean, it was really funny watching the Pro Bowl and just seeing Lamar Jackson hit Mark Andrews and teammates just like connecting, and Breeze's first touchdown was to Michael Thomas. And you just know, like, they're not throwing to anyone else. No, they're throwing to the people they know.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny to watch a team of Ravens play the NFC. But other than that,
yeah.
But it was mildly entertaining. I'll say that. But anyway, it was still fun. It was still fun to some degree. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but last week in our comments section, apparently longtime listener Thomas H said that your dog is his new favorite RotoHacker.
I saw that, and I'm a little bit offended because I know that I was previously his favorite. Yep. That's what I assume his comment meant, that I was his favorite, and then now I'm number 2 behind the dog, and then you and Judah in some order, probably you after that. So, but it's okay. I'm content to pass on, my legacy to, a new generation of RotoHackers. Yeah. So, and I mean, he is very cute.
Very true.
like when you deal with him in person, like you're pretty sure he's like part of a terrorist sleeper cell or something. And that he's not hiding it particularly well. But actually, I think I just finally, I think, settled on a name.
Oh, here we go.
And you'll appreciate this. I think I'm gonna go with Kylo.
Nice. I like it.
So I like the name. Okay, in spite of Disney Star Wars, in spite of my feelings about Disney Star Wars in general, and like Kylo Ren, this little dog is basically like an emotionally unstable little boy prone to violent outbursts.
Oh no.
And I'm pretty sure he's gonna kill me at some
Oh
point.
my. Oh no.
So it just seemed like it fit. I actually photoshopped him into, let's see, I can send this to you here.
Oh yes, please.
I actually photoshopped kind of what he would look like. I'll just reply to your email here. Give me just a second here. Let's see, where did I put that file?
While you're looking for it, Luke Ojeda, thanks for joining the show. Good to see you here again. Thomas H. Wink Van Ripple, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that already as I shamelessly plug our channel. Yeah, that's about all I got right now.
Well, you're about to have photos here. I'll show you the actual. I'll send you the actual photo and the edited photo here.
Yes, please.
So they are something. So right, let's see. Yeah, I just sent that your way. So
all right.
I don't know if you want to throw it up there for folks.
Yeah, I'll try to find it. And while I'm searching for it, I think all of us have been wondering what the RotoHackers. Last week, the RotoHackers declared that the Kansas City Chiefs are absolutely indeed the RotoHackers Super Bowl champions. Do you want to elaborate on why you chose them a little bit more? We had to kind of do a succinct version, but you want to go into that a little bit more?
I don't know how much good material I have to add to it. This week, I think just a combination of stuff, but this just hasn't felt like Super Bowl week to me.
Really?
Like I think it's a combination of just not particularly caring about these two teams, being busy at work, being busy with a puppy, and then of course the sports news that is just going to dominate things for a while, of course, is Kobe's death. So
yeah, absolutely. Thoughts and prayers go out to the family and everyone affected.
Yeah, man, that was such a sad situation, especially with his daughter and all the other people on board and everything. Just kind of a combination of all that. I think I just kind of caught myself today being like, oh man, yeah, wow, the Super Bowl's this weekend. So, I think the Chiefs just are more reliable on offense. San Francisco, they've got weapons. They could win the game. I could see it going either way. I just trust the Chiefs' offense a little bit more, and their defense has come on. It's had some, letdowns in spurts, but man, after the first half against the Titans and the Texans both, they were pretty shut down, in the second half. So I think this is the one where Andy Reid finally gets a ring, and maybe this is this is the start of a Mahomes type of not necessarily like a Tom Brady run, because I don't think you're ever going to replicate that sort of thing with that organization and Belichick as a coach, and just basically how inept the rest of the AFC East has been. But I don't know. I guess maybe we need to look at it as more of like a Peyton Manning or Drew Brees type thing with Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, even, because we see how talented he is and how young he is, and there's sort of this temptation to think oh man, this is just the start of this guy's career. He's going to be in Super Bowls all the time. And Peyton barely got a second ring. Drew Brees has one. Aaron Rodgers has one. And so I think maybe the lesson is to kind of appreciate these guys being there now because, you don't ever know, if they'll get back or, when it'll be. So
I think kind of the big thing for me, honestly, going throughout the whole thing is that the Chiefs are just on a streak right now. They finished the season so strong, and the Niners did too. But man, the Chiefs can be so explosive. And after coming from behind in 3 straight weeks, I feel like either they're going to take it and run with it this time, or they're going to fall behind again, and they're just going to be like, okay, it's the second quarter. We've seen that all you can do. Now it's our turn, and they're going to turn it up again because they've given me no reason. Man, I'm having hat hair right now. They've given me no reason to prove otherwise. Absolutely, they haven't done anything else that shows me that I should believe in that. And while the Niners defense is very, very good, and while their offense is extremely efficient, I just don't know if that's going to be enough to just beat the consistent, explosive plays of the Kansas City Chiefs over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure myself.
Well, Thomas H is a prediction. He says Niners win. Defense is the difference. Bosa gets 2 sacks, and Richard Sherman seals the win with an interception or a pick, he says. And it looks like he's talking about Crabtree. Oh, that's a nice throwback.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Talk about me.
Yeah, it is really weird to see Richard Sherman in a Niners uniform. It feels like seeing Brett Favre in a Vikings uniform.
That's true. That's a good way to put it. That's a very good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for them to go to just their ultimate rival,
Yeah.
Yeah, it just looks weird. I just can't get used to that.
Me neither. Well, Thomas H, I do think that if the Niners win, it will be because of their defense and not their offense. And while I know Garoppolo can hang with teams like they hung with the Saints before, Chiefs are still more explosive. So if the 49ers are gonna get it done, it's gonna be done because their defense was able to stop the Chiefs. So I do agree with you there, Thomas H. And Crabtree, what you talking about me? And Wink Van Ripple's got his own prediction for us. He says the Chiefs win. Mahomes is the difference. He scrambles around Joey Bosa and throws 6 touchdowns.
That would be impressive against that 49ers defense.
Yeah. There's really only been one team able to do that, and that was the Saints with Drew Brees way back in like week 8, whatever week that was. That is a bold prediction. 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you see this as being more of a high-scoring Super Bowl or no?
I don't know. I guess I feel like it's going to be sort of middle of the road. Like I can't see San Francisco shutting the Chiefs down,
Right.
but I can't really see the Chiefs just lighting them up for a massive amount of points,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what I think the score will be. Maybe something like a 27-20 sort of thing, or 30 to 20, 23, something like that. I would guess kind of somewhere in between.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards that way too. I think this is going to look a little bit similar to Eagles-Patriots, where it ended 41-33. I don't know if it'll quite go that high, but I do think that it's going to end up being like around that 38-31 range, 35-31 range, somewhere around there. But I do think it's going to be a close competitive game. It should be a fun Super Bowl, to say the least.
Yeah.
Especially coming off last year's depressing Patriots-Rams one, which in my way was the most boring way for Brady to win his 6th Super Bowl.
Oh, gosh, that was brutal. I've just kind of almost wiped that out of my mind.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that was – I don't know if there's been I guess maybe I'm trying to think like where you have to go back to find that boring of a Super Bowl. I'm thinking back to probably – either before your time or at least like before you were aware of football, to where it was like Ravens Giants, like back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was even what year was that? I don't know. It was around 2000.
Something like that.
That was a pretty bad
that
one
was
because
01, yeah.
it was a blowout. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a blowout. I guess at least with as bad as that Patriots one with the Rams was, at least it was close. At least it was just one score for the most part, and you're like, oh, maybe they could do. But although if you watched the game, you were like, there's no way, unless it's somehow like a busted play, that the Rams are going to be able to score because Jared Goff was just so inept, So unless they got like a defensive touchdown or there was a broken play or something, you had no confidence. Really, you had all the confidence in the world that they couldn't score against the Patriots.
Honestly.
So in a weird way, even though it was like a 1-score game most of the way, it was a 1-score blowout.
Yeah, honestly. I remember my friends and I were watching the Super Bowl, and I think by like the third quarter, someone finally suggested, I was at a Super Bowl party, and someone finally suggested, do you guys just want to play Madden? Because we were fed up at that point. Because I remember, I may have told this joke on here before, but someone said, hey, the score at halftime is Rams 0, Patriots 3, Maroon 5. And I was so frustrated about that. And it was, so this one should be a nice refresher coming off of that Super Bowl. It's like, I don't hate the Patriots, but at the same time, we've got 2 new teams. We've got 2 young quarterbacks. We've got 2 really dynamic offenses. So it should be a fun game to watch. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And I can just kind of watch it and appreciate the talent because I just don't care. I don't care who wins.
Yeah.
So I just hope they put on a pretty good game. Mm-hmm. So I'm already in off-season mode of like, oh, okay, who was doing well at the Senior Bowl?
Yeah.
Who could the Colts get at the third? Like, oh, they're gonna have to trade up from the 13th pick probably to get a good quarterback. Yeah, that's kind of like I've already just moved on past most of this stuff.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, Wink Van Ripple comment, man, that's mean. Remember when the Bills were in the Super Bowl almost every year, but always lost? That's
mean,
man.
I am old enough to remember that. Yeah, I was. Yeah, it was sad, like because the first time they lost in heartbreaking fashion because I think it was Scott Norwood was the kicker, if I remember right.
Yeah,
missed, pushed it wide.
Yeah,
when they could have won, and then you thought like, oh, okay, well they're going to get the next time, and then this is the third time. Oh, it's the fourth time. Surely they're going to get one. It was sad. It was sad. So,
especially when losing to Dallas twice in a row, that's really got to hurt.
Yeah. So,
Thomas H brings up I don't even know if I want to say this is a good point, but who is doing the lame halftime show this year? From the Pepsi commercials that I've been getting, I could be wrong about this. It's like Jennifer Lopez and Shakira, right? I think that's it.
I actually was about to say that I don't know without Googling it.
I had to Google it.
Jennifer Lopez does sound right. I had forgotten the Shakira part.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl, the halftime show is always this sort of like nowadays, this sort of weird thing where they try to get someone who's like a big name, but they feel like is sort of safe. After the whole thing again, I think probably before your time, the Janet Jackson thing. So nowadays they just try to get someone who's sort of a big name, but not. I think they try to get someone who's already established and who doesn't need to try to do something provocative to get build their brand or kind of cash in on a ride a wave or something. So Super Bowl halftimes have been pretty rough for a while. I think even I can't remember if it was last year or sometimes they have problems with with the pyro and stuff, like smoking up the field, you know.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I remember. I think I've only watched like the halftime show maybe thrice, maybe 3 times, and I remember watching the Maroon 5 one and thinking that was the worst 5-minute concert I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And then I had this like history Super Bowl book, and I was like, we used to have Michael Jackson doing the halftime show, and now we're stuck with this.
Right. Well, and now they've like, wasn't it Monday Night Football that did like the halftime shows this season for like every Monday Night Football?
Yes, I remember that. Ugh.
Yeah, it just keeps getting worse.
That was rough. Wink Van
The Wiggles. The Wiggles. I'd be down for the Wiggles. A buddy of mine, his son, well, his son's now 15, but when he was a baby, he was so into the Wiggles. So into the Wiggles. So yeah. So I know there's I don't remember how much I know about the Wiggles, but I think there was a Wiggle named Greg, and he was either purple or yellow.
Something like that.
That's about all I can remember.
Yeah,
about the Wiggles.
I was like 3 when the Wiggles went off or something like that. Oh my God.
Yeah, that would have been.
The sad part is that's a more entertaining halftime show than anything else.
Hey, I'd 100% be down for the Wiggles.
Yes,
and have them as like a surprise performance, you know, like they like the NFL keeps it super secret of like, oh, we've got this big halftime show, and then they just roll out the Wiggles. So.
Because you know how like in the last like 3 years they've had like feature people come out or whatever in the middle of it. Like I remember they had someone come out during Bruno Mars's, and couple rappers I never heard of come out during Maroon 5. So yes, the Wiggles. Oh my gosh. I can't even think about it.
Let's do it.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the RotoHackers are now starting #Wiggles for the halftime show. Wow. And Thomas H. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say you'd get some nostalgia from some teenagers and nostalgia from their parents of having to go through that. Nostalgia
from the parents, or is this PTSD at this point?
I don't know. I guess you'd have to. I don't know which it would be.
Yeah, well, Thomas H has declared halftime is for highlights and snacks, and I could not agree more, in all honesty. Now, I know that you've been looking forward to the next season. I know you've been looking forward to next season in the NFL, and if I can find my real quick, if I can find where I put the banner, do you have any really early predictions on free agency? Do you have any early thoughts on free agency?
I think the things I'm most interested. Well, again, I'm most interested from a Colts standpoint.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see, like, you know, really the quarterback situation is pretty interesting this year, regardless of who you're a fan of, because Brady's out there, Breeze could be out there, which I cannot imagine Breeze going anywhere else. So I think he's either going back to New Orleans, which I think he will, or he's retiring, one or the other. But Rivers and Brady, those two are pretty interesting because I think there's a pretty good chance Rivers doesn't go back to San Diego. I don't know about Brady. It's so hard for me to imagine him being anywhere else, you know?
Yeah.
But those two are out there. And then you got some interesting tight end free agents out there. Or, I mean, probably. I think we haven't seen, like, you know, guys could get franchise tagged or whatever. But Austin Hooper for the Falcons
That's a big one.
Could be out there. Yeah. That's someone that I would love to see the Colts sign. Hunter Henry for the Chargers, who's also good, but he's injury prone, so he scares me.
Yeah.
So a couple of those guys. I'm trying to think in the running back, and I don't remember as much about the running back and wide receiver options that are out there.
Well, I believe that Le'Veon Bell, I think, is he back? No, I can't remember. Not this year.
He's not a free agent. No,
Not this year.
he
No,
could.
because they
I
can
think
go
there's
on
a decent
contract.
chance that he gets traded.
Yeah.
So he's probably on the trade market. Kenyon Drake, I think he's a free agent. So that's interesting.
Yeah, coming off a really strong finish too to the season.
Yeah, man, that trade. He has to be a happy guy for because that trade did wonders for his market value. So he's out there. Wide receiver, I don't think there's a ton out there in terms of wide receiver. The draft is really just one of the deepest wide receiver drafts I think ever. So you got a couple of guys at the top. Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb, but I mean, even beyond them, there are just a lot of good options at receiver. So I think the draft is where a lot of teams are going to try to address receiver. So.
What's going to be interesting is who decides to take a jump at AJ Green in free agency.
Oh, that's true, AJ. I forgot about AJ.
With that?
Forgot about him. Yeah. That's a good question. That's a good question. I'm trying to think who might be a good fit for him. I mean, obviously, Philadelphia needs a wide receiver. They probably need multiple wide receivers. Trying to think who else could be a good fit for him. I don't know if he would want to go to New Orleans and play with Breeze and Thomas and guys like that.
Probably his best shot at getting a ring, though, at the same time.
Yeah. And there again, I don't know if the Colts would take a shot on him. I feel like they probably wouldn't want to pay what he's going to want and the length of deal that he's going to want for an aging wide receiver. But he'll have a market for sure.
A really weird one now, since with Ryan Tannehill's a free agent, but I have a hard time feeling the Titans won't re-sign. But I'll be shocked if they don't re-sign him. I'll say that. Don't re-sign Tannehill.
He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. Now, if it was the Bengals, the Bengals might let him get away. But no, he's not going anywhere.
That leaves the big question for Mariota then. Where does he go now?
I don't know if he goes. I don't know if there's anywhere he's going to be able to start. I mean, he's just. I don't think he's a starting. I don't think he's a starting quarterback. I mean, we've seen what he's got, and we saw like what a difference even Tannehill made over him. So it's hard for me to imagine he's a starting quarterback unless it somehow ended up with a situation like, going to, somebody like the Colts who, the other option would be Jacoby Brissett or something. If the Colts didn't get someone like Rivers or Brady, and maybe they draft a young guy, but they want someone else to, they want him to sit for a year or two. But I don't know. I don't know how many options Mariota has, at least as a starter.
I think what's going to be really curious is to see what teams decide to jump the gun at the draft and who decides to wait it out in free agency, because Dak's getting re-signed. Breeze, I feel, is getting re-signed. Tannehill's getting re-signed. I personally think that the Bucs are going to go back and re-sign famous Jameis. I have a feeling that they're just going to stick with him. So that leaves Brady, Rivers, Bridgewater, if he decides to leave as well. And I'm curious what teams are going to decide to wait out, not pick someone in the draft, because there's a decent amount of quarterbacks in the draft this year. Good first rounders, second round quarterbacks. And there's a couple really solid quarterbacks as well from the NFL that are in free agency. So is there any team that you see just committing to one or the other besides Cincinnati going quarterback in the draft?
Well, I mean, I think the way normally the order is free agency goes first, right before the draft. So, I think anybody who's if anybody has a shot at Brady, I think if you're a contender, if you think you can be a contender next year with the right quarterback, then they're going to try to get him. I think that would be a short list of teams that he would be willing to, play for. Or, maybe they take a shot at Phillip Rivers. But, I think a team, I think though, with the guys that are out there, even if they sign one of them, that wouldn't necessarily preclude them from drafting a guy. As old as Brady is, even if somebody signs him, if you have the opportunity to draft a good young quarterback, you got to do that. Same thing with Rivers. And then, guys like Bridgewater, what is his ceiling, and so maybe you think like, oh, this guy's a good 2-year option for us. But if we've got an opportunity to draft a franchise guy, we're going to do that too. So I don't know that anything necessarily would happen in free agency that would prevent a team from then, also going ahead and drafting a guy.
I think it's going to be very curious with the Saints situation because you've got 3 free agent quarterbacks, and I don't know if you can pay all of them.
Right. No, I'm sure they won't.
So who do you see leaving? Do you see it being Breeze, Bridgewater, or Taysom Hill?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Bridgewater. He's, he filled in well enough that he's going to get a good offer from someone else somewhere. I'm not sure he's really the long-term answer behind Breeze. And I was reading a thing the other day. It was kind of interesting, saying that the Saints believe that Taysom Hill is their quarterback of the future, which I'm like, okay, well,
sure.
They see him every day. Maybe they know more than we do, but I have a hard time buying that. I think that's just a smoke screen to either maybe they have intentions of trading up in the draft or taking somebody and they don't want to tip their hand on that. It's hard. I mean, what have we seen from him in terms of passing? I think if he was the guy, you would have played him over Bridgewater this season, or you would have at least given him more opportunities, in there and to throw the ball. So I don't think that's true. So, but I think Breeze probably does come back. I'd be surprised if he didn't.
Same here.
They've got, he's still capable enough, and they've got a good team around him. If they add, a couple more pieces, in the draft and free agency, then they should be right back there again. And it's, it's hard for me to imagine him just walking away from that.
Yeah. I do think that just one more free agency guy for you, unless you got anyone else. I think a really interesting one is going to be Jadeveon Clowney and whether he's going to stay in Seattle or not, because he was a factor in their defense late last year, and he's expecting to get paid.
Right.
Is Seattle going to have the money to pay him?
Yeah. And pass rushers are, sort of are at a premium. So someone will pay him. I don't know if it'll be Seattle or not.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting free agency. This is gonna be a very interesting year. Thomas H saw a prediction that pertains to you. He saw Phillip Rivers go into the Colts. How would you feel about that? I don't know if it's out of the realm of possibility. What are your thoughts coming from a Colts fan?
I think it's possible. Yeah. I saw that too. I mean, Frank Reich worked with him when Frank Reich was in, San Diego, I guess at the time, as their offensive coordinator. I would be okay with it if as long as they still went ahead and drafted a guy. The only thing though is I think they would probably then in that situation be more inclined to take a wide receiver with their first round pick and then wait on a quarterback to maybe round 2, which could be what they do anyway. I don't know. And if they get the opportunity to draft a Jerry Jeudy or a CeeDee Lamb, then and somebody like Herbert is already gone, then maybe that makes sense. But man, I just watching Rivers last year, and just watching him chuck the ball just in the general direction of receiver. I don't know what would be worse, watching him do that or watching Jacoby Brissett.
Oh boy.
Neither of those are a very appealing option for me. So, I mean, I can put up with it for another year if they draft a guy, but I'm not really looking forward to either of those scenarios.
Yeah, it's so I'm curious, what's your optimal Colts scenario then? If they were to get a quarterback in either free agency or draft, what's your best scenario?
I would like to see them grab Herbert if they could, because if you told me that Tua was going to be there and you told me that Tua would stay healthy, then Tua would be great.
Yeah.
But man, just the injuries.
Yeah.
I would be okay, but honestly, if they get Jordan Love, I'd be okay with that. I don't know. There's just such question marks about him, about Eason, about Fromm. Herbert, I feel like he's got a good combination of stuff there. I mean, he's a good character guy, good strong arm. He's somewhat mobile. He's very accurate. The big questions about him were like leadership type things, because he's quiet. And that just felt like kind of nitpicking. And then the other one was, well, he, hasn't won the big game. And I mean, okay.
He played in the Pac-12.
Right. Yeah. So I think with Herbert, there's a lot to like there. I think the thing that scares me with Jordan Love is people are looking for the next Patrick Mahomes. And so when you start looking for that, there's the chance that you're going to find it regardless of whether it's really there or not. But he was kind of up and down at the Senior Bowl practices and stuff. But playing at Utah State,
that's already a disadvantage.
It's hard to project what he'll be. So I would, if they draft Jordan Love, I'll be kind of like, thumbs up. I think, I don't know. Sure. Take a shot. I don't know. And kind of the same way though, with like Eason just didn't seem to do well under pressure. Fromm has his, has probably a more limited ceiling than the others. So
he does have that leadership though, that Andrew Luck-esque leadership though.
Yeah, and I could completely see them taking Fromm because he's a high character guy. He's accurate, and that's what a lot of what Reich really wants. I would not be the least bit surprised if they took Jake Fromm.
High football IQ there.
Yeah, and in fact, that might be their plan. Like I could see them going in with the plan of like, we're going to get a receiver in round 1, and then we're going to take Fromm in round 2 or whatever. So I can completely see that. But I think Herbert, just because he ticks more like boxes of certainty, than some of these other guys. So that would be mine. I guess my second then would be like to draft, if they could get like a Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb with that 13th pick, and then get a quarterback either with that second pick of the second round, because they've got the Redskins pick, or trade back up into the first round. And then sign Austin Hooper in free agency. So then you got to draft a star receiver, you sign a star tight end, and then you get your quarterback too. So
smart draft plan.
That would be fun. And
Indianapolis, if you're ever needing someone in the war room, we've got someone right here. He just have to show up every Tuesday, though. That's all we're requiring.
I could stream from Arizona. I could stream from Indy, but somehow I think they feel like they've got their situation under wraps there. They got their assistant GM turned down the Browns for an interview because he was smart enough to not want to go to the Browns. Sometimes the best move is the one that you don't make. So, so good decision on his part. He'll get another offer with a better organization, and in the meantime, he can just hang on there in Indy for a while. So.
Yeah. Well, Wink Van Ripple's got a strange prediction for us, Jared. He says Brady stays in New England, and Rivers is a backup for the ... Wait for it ... Las Vegas Raiders. What?
Rivers can start somewhere. He'll start somewhere. Even even though he was just like old man Jameis last year, a lot of times he can still start somewhere. So I don't think he'll be a backup.
Especially not in Vegas.
Yeah, I don't know who he'd be backing up. Like, I mean, Carr, or would they move on from Carr and draft? I mean, I think maybe there would be a scenario where somehow they moved on from Carr and brought in Rivers as the starter as a stopgap for a young quarterback. If they took a young quarterback at that whatever it is, 12th pick. Yeah. But I can't. Yeah, I don't see Rivers being a backup anywhere. I don't think he would want to do that either. You know.
Yeah. Well, I remember seeing the notification that the Raiders had officially, quote unquote, moved to Vegas. So, what do you think about that? Do you think smart choice, not great choice for Oakland to pack up and move to Nevada?
Their stadium looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't paid attention really to how the hockey team, the Golden Knights, have been doing there in terms of attendance. Yeah. So, I mean, these days they rarely make any of these moves without knowing that they've got a secure fan base there, except apparently Jacksonville, back about 20 something years ago. That was a miscalculation there to put a team in Jacksonville. But I imagine they know what they're doing. They've got a new stadium. It'll probably be a lot like LA, you know, a town where you've got a lot of transplants, where you're not going to have a great probably loyalty to the home crowd, kind of like what the Chargers have dealt with this year. But I don't know, maybe it's good. Maybe they don't have to worry about getting murdered by their own fans there in Oakland. I think things were getting pretty rough at the end of that final loss to the Jags there. I don't know.
Hole. Yep.
Yeah, maybe the move to Vegas will be good for him. But I'm surprised it's taken this long. I'm surprised it's taken this long for Las Vegas to get pro sports teams.
Yeah. I would have thought it would have made even more sense for the Chargers to go to Las Vegas, because Oakland, they've got a history. I mean, they've been there since the 60s, only played in LA for 3 years, and then you're going to up and move to Nevada. Like that. They've got more. I would have seen that. If you had said the Chargers were moving, that would have made more sense to me.
Yeah. It just all comes down to owners and where they're from and where they want to put their teams. So I don't know. We'll see how it works out. But I am kind of curious to see like that stadium once it's built. Like, I mean, for the most part, like stadiums, like who cares? But that one's different, and the one that's being built in LA is different. And so that's like, I think the first times that I've ever been like, oh, I'm really curious to see when that stadium's finished.
Really, even not Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta?
The only to a lesser extent. I mean, but with Mercedes-Benz, the roof was interesting because it was almost like the iris of a camera or something. So that was kind of neat. But on the whole, like, and it does have that
like the ring
the
inside.
screen that's a ring, a halo, almost like a halo ring.
Yeah.
So there were a couple of cool things about it, but yeah, not that much that really just was like, oh, I can't wait to see this.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Falcons, though,
oh boy,
and this probably needs to be my last point before I get
All
off,
right.
but I was
Probably
curious
wrap
to
it up,
see curious to see what your thoughts were, or maybe Thomas H's on the uniform change that's coming.
See, here's the thing. I actually haven't even seen what they're gonna look like. So
Well, they haven't put it out. They're going to release it in April, I think.
Oh man.
And I guess we don't know if the logo is going to change, but right now it sounds like they wouldn't comment on it, and so I think that probably means that there will at least be a small change, if not something more significant, because otherwise I don't think they would want to just be like, I don't think they would want to tease that and then not deliver anything. So, so I would think that it's probably going to be a logo change. So, so do they, how much do they change the logo? Do they maybe go from the black helmets back to the old red helmets? I think there's some interesting possibilities there.
I'm very interested to see whether they're going, now that you bring it up, I'm interested to see whether it's going to be either they're going to do kind of like a Jets new uniform style and just kind of tweak it a little bit. Jets brought the old logo, classic logo back, or if they go the Titans route and just like revamp the whole jersey, revamp the helmet, even though they kept their logo. I don't know if the Falcons would change their logo. I don't know what they would change it to, but the uniform is going to be interesting. I'm very curious to see whether they go with majority red or majority black. If they take elements from classic stuff, if they're making something completely new and making it look kind of like Detroit Lions-esque jerseys. I have like no expectations because there's so many ways they could go with this. Yeah. I'm very, very curious to see what it turns out to be.
Yeah. It's just funny to me that they're changing theirs. I think if there were two teams that needed to change theirs, it would be Tampa and Jacksonville. Just the Jacksonville hideous two-tone helmet and the Bucks weird, bizarre decision to use like digital clock numbers.
Yeah.
And those off the top of my head were like, if I was ranking the ugliest uniforms, like which ones would it be? And then I saw, but it was all stemming from this like Falcons thing where I saw a couple of articles like ranking the worst uniforms, and in those lists too, it was like Bucks and Jags at the very bottom of the list, So, so I don't know that the Falcons really. I mean, I guess they're going to make a change to sell new jerseys. Honestly, but I mean, to me, the Falcons look fine.
Yeah, they look good to me. Yeah. They look good to me. Yeah. I do still like their classic Michael Vick era jerseys, though. They're when they stuck with the black and the red accents. I was a fan of those, but yeah, because the Falcons, other than back in like when they changed the all black, very basic Falcon to the newer one, they haven't had many changes to the logo. So I'd be shocked if they changed the logo. But I mean, the uniforms have just gone over like slight tweaks over and over again. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So we got to wait till April. So we got like 3 months until that happens.
Maybe it'll leak. Maybe it'll leak in March or something. Because I am curious to see what they'll look like. Like. That's the most I can get interested in the Falcons. So.
Ouch. I don't know. I'm kind of suffering from logo. I'm kind of suffering from logo PTSD because I know this has nothing to do with anything else. But Chicago Fire soccer team changed their logo and it looks hideous. So I hate it. So I like the Falcons logo a lot. I like the Falcons. I like the jerseys. It looks clean. It looks nice. I don't want them to change it. And if they do, it better not be something ridiculous. And Thomas H is preparing to be disappointed. Oh, no.
I don't know. We'll see. I need to I'm gonna Google it again after I get off here just to see like is there anything that they've said. I'm like just weirdly curious about this. Like it means nothing to me, but
I'm interested to see if one of the players is gonna get the uniforms first, and they might like snap a picture on Instagram or something like early before it happens or something like that.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I don't know how those things usually leak. They probably know better than to give it to a player, or it would depend on which players that they gave it to.
That's true.
Like some guys they could give it to and it'd be fine, but some of them would want to like put it out to their Instagram followers right away. So fortunately they don't have Antonio Brown on their team. Otherwise he would live stream it. So.
Oh my goodness. Well, Thomas H, the Falcons fan, is now carrying the banner for Tampa to bring back the creamsicle uniforms, and I don't think that's the change you're looking for, Jared.
No, but man, I think apart from the helmets, apart from those old helmets, like honestly, like the old uniforms, I think would be a better alternative to the
really.
I hate those digital clock numbers. I hate them so much.
Wow.
I don't know. Like I think maybe like retro ugly could make a comeback.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's give the Steelers their Bumblebee uniforms back and everything. Let's bring back like the Bears yellow and blue 1930s striped ones that I always repped in Madden 13. Let's bring all of those. Let's just have a year of NFL classic jerseys, and every team just picks one old one to wear for the whole year.
Yeah, see, the old Bucks ones, I don't think are that. Like they almost look like you're looking at Tennessee or something, But I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't hate their current ones that much if not for that for the numbers.
Clock.
Like it looks like a digital clock.
Vendetta against those numbers.
Because it just looks like something that you would see on like something like the XFL would do. Or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah,
man,
it just feels out of place to have like them against like the Bears or something, where the Bears still have like that old classic logo and just this kind of old school look, and then you've got the Bucks with digital clock numbers. So it feels out of place in the rest of the league, and same thing with Jacksonville's helmet. So, which also looks like something the XFL would do.
Very true. Very true. Maybe we should make that a segment. If XFL fantasy doesn't come out, then if we run out of ideas, we're rating the XFL jerseys.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jared, you got anything else for us tonight?
No, I need to call it a night.
Yeah.
I guess if you're a fan of the Chiefs or the 49ers, then good luck. Good luck Sunday.
Yep. And like we promised earlier, there's Jared's absolutely adorable dog, Kylo. And as Jared has informed us, he then turns into this man right here.
Yep.
I love that. That is incredible.
Yeah, it's one of those two. You never know which one you're going to get, Ben Solo or Kylo Ren. He's just emotionally unstable, like his lightsaber.
Yep. I know there's good in him somewhere. Well, Thomas H did suggest to you Kylo Sven, Star Wars and Frozen fans. I don't know how big of a Frozen fan you are, but
I don't think I've seen Frozen all the way through. I've seen a lot of the Disney movies, but no, Frozen I haven't seen all the way through. So
yeah, well, that is the face of a that's going to be Star Wars 10's new antagonist, I assume. I'm gonna go ahead.
I think it'd be great. It'd be great, and it it wouldn't be any worse than what we just got. So it's Star Wars 10. It's this guy against Baby Yoda.
Yes. There we go.
That is
Even
that
better.
is the
Mandalorian season 2.
that is the movie that we need. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, those two going
absolutely.
at it.
There we go. Well, for myself, AJ Herschel the Kid, and it's your absolute stud. That is Jared, and the Sith Puppy Lord.
That's right.
That is, I don't know what we're gonna. I don't know what the actual definition of that is, but Kylo, the RotoHackers mascot. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week, and please make sure you enjoy the Super Bowl.